ranges from 21 to 45. The flow could go to 7 days or less. Okay? Let's important to have these definitions because we're going to talk about disorders of these things. The woman should use between 3 to 6 pads per day or tampons. This is also define how much blood she loses. And lasts between 4.5 to 8 days. It takes from 24 to 28. Should not lose more than 80 ml. Okay? So after we know what is considered somehow normal in terms of menstrual cycle, let's start with the first disorder, which is amenorrhea. A in Latin means no. Amenorrhea, lack of menses. Okay? There is a primary, and as always, the primary disease, no, we don't know the cause, or there is no known or obvious cause. And there is secondary, which is there is a cause. Primary amenorrhea is defined as either lack, okay, no menses whatsoever by the age of 16, but the girl shows secondary sexual characteristics like a breast, like widening of the hips, like hair on certain places in her body, then that tells us she has some hormones, okay? Or age of 14, if she doesn't have these secondary sexual characteristics. She's 14, no sexual characteristics, and no menses, that's a primary amenorrhea. There is also another definition, a new definition, as age 15 regardless. Age 15 regardless. Now, secondary amenorrhea is related to other causes, and usually it occurs in women who had menses before, but suddenly they have no menses, and if it happens for 3 cycles or for 6 months, then we can say this woman has secondary, or she had amenorrhea. Mostly, the etiology is actually pregnancy. The woman might say, oh, I am on contraceptives, oh, I took precautions, oh, I am sure I'm not pregnant. Most of the cases, the most common cause for amenorrhea, so if you have a question, if I ask a question, and I say, what is the most probable cause, you should say? Pregnancy. Pregnancy. And you recognize the pregnancy. Because women think, they know they are pregnant. They don't. The nurse everyone for the first 4 weeks, basically she has no clue. She's expecting her menses. It just doesn't happen the first week, the second week, and so on. Then we go through the hypothalamus pituitary ovary axis. And there could be a problem at each level. So at the hypothalamic level, there could be hypothalamic suppression, as we're going to see some examples of why hypothalamic suppression, what causes hypothalamic suppression. Or chronic anovulation at the pituitary, okay? Lack of anovulation, there's no ovulation, okay? If no ovulation, no menses. Hyperprolactinemia is another common cause. Ovarian failure, and these could be later in life, like perimenopause women, okay? They could start having ovarian failure, and at the uterus level, could be some uterine disorders that cause this amenorrhea. So at the level of the uterus, for example, Asherman syndrome, congenital uterine abnormalities, like the post-surgical uterine adhesions, زمان كانوا يعملوا يسموها عملية تنظيفات, where they scrub the endometrium. This could lead to amenorrhea, okay? I think they don't do it that often. It used to be like a routine procedure. They don't do it that much anymore. Oh, there is a problem with the development of the uterus. In the ovaries, there are multiple things that could be responsible. Turner syndrome, gonadal dysgenesis, premature ovarian failure, chemotherapy, radiation that can affect the ovaries. Remember, the ovaries and the testes and all these organs that are continuously producing cells are number 1 affected by chemotherapy and radiation, correct? So there is lack of ovarian follicles, no more. Genetic. premature ovarian failure. Now the pituitary. In the pituitary, it could be either prolactin, too much prolactin, either because of adenoma, okay? Also hypothyroidism, also medications. We know that antipsychotics, what they do, they are dopamine antagonists. Dopamine is the inhibitor of prolactin, right? So if I have antagonists, I'm going to antagonize it everywhere, including in the anterior pituitary, where I'm going to cause
increase prolactin.
Exactly, increase in prolactin. Vitamin as a side effect for antipsychotics and antihistamines and other drugs that work on the dopamine receptor. Because prolactin can suppress the hypothalamus pituitary ovary axis. Increase in this prolactin will suppress the HPO. Hypothalamus, there is functional hypothalamus. Like that is what happens before puberty. Why until age 11 or 12? What happened? There is functional hypothalamic suppression. Gonadotropin releasing hormone that's produced by the hypothalamus started producing, but it is continuous. When it is continuous, this axis is inhibited. Only when it is pulsatile that it's activated. So functional, it's continuous. And we're going to see we use some medications to make it continuous. We get gonadotropin releasing hormone analog to inhibit ovulation and the whole cycle. Okay? So also eating disorders like anorexia nervosa, bulimia, which are psychiatric disorders that we have to treat. But also women who are exercise very severely, not I go to the gym 2 hours a day. No, it's exercise in the time where heavy weightlifting, okay, playing soccer, football. These types of exercises become functional inhibition of the gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay. Also, women who decide to go on diets that are not appropriate, like eliminating sugar is good. There is no downside to eliminating sugar, but eliminating fat is not good. Remember, all our hormones are made from cholesterol. If we don't have cholesterol, we don't have hormones. Of course, we can debate there is healthy fat and there is unhealthy fat. Eliminating unhealthy fat is a good thing, but you cannot completely eliminate fat. Okay? So it becomes less pulsatile. Okay? If it's not pulsatile, gonadotropin releasing hormone, this will lead to decrease in FSH and LH, okay? And hence, if we don't have these two hormones, we don't have ovulation. If we don't have ovulation, we don't even have the follicle. The follicle is the manufacturer of estrogen and progestin. Without estrogen and progestin, do we have menses? No. So, all these factors, and of course, anovulation due to polycystic ovary, which is, by the way, the most prevalent disorder around the world and in Jordan. Takayus al-Mabaid, polycystic ovary is very, very common and it's treatable. Thank God it is treatable, but it has to be recognized, diagnosed early enough, and to give the right treatment. Now, the other disorder is what we call abnormal uterine bleeding, which is associated with ovulatory dysfunction. So there is this disorder when the woman does not ovulate the right way, yet she has bleeding, and more than usual. It used to be called menorrhagia, which is heavy bleeding, okay? Heavy uterine bleeding without ovulation, also because of the hormones. Physiological adults before puberty or around the time, by the time when the woman sees the blood for the first time, she could go a whole year, menses regularly, but there is no ovulation still. The follicles are not maturing yet. So she will have her period, and people think in her she's capable, but she's not. Actually, it is anovulatory bleeding. Perimenopause, before the menopause, okay, and the ovarian function is declining. Now, pathological causes like hyperandrogenic anovulation, which is characteristic of PCOS, polycystic ovary, okay, because here we have hyper we're going to see the synthesis of a progesterone and estrogen go through steps, and it passes first into androgenic phase, or it becomes androgen, okay? But then we have aromatase to change it into progesterone, then estrogen. If we have a problem in this axis, we end up with excess androgen. PCOS is a disorder of excess androgen. And what happens if I have more androgen than estrogen, progesterone? No ovulation. Okay? Even if I might have the bleeding, okay, two simple things. Hypothalamic dysfunction, physical, emotional, stress, exercise, we just talked about it. Galactosemia, hypothyroidism also, because increasing thyroid stimulating hormone also inhibit the hypothalamus pituitary ovary axis. All these hormones are connected, okay? And premature ovarian failure, what happened? Because we don't have the ovaries to produce estrogen and progesterone. Remember that estrogen and progesterone have negative feedback where? On the pituitary, on the FSH and LH. Now, if I don't have the negative feedback, what's going to happen? That's how we measure the woman. She's going into ovarian failure, or she's perimenopausal or menopausal. من قيس إيش؟ follicular stimulating hormone عشان يكونوا high. لأنه فيش negative feedback. Okay, فيش negative inhibition, so they will be the highest. Heavy bleeding in hemorrhagia could be hematologic, could be systemic disease. The woman have a problem with her clotting factors. Okay, example مثلا pulmonary, okay, thrombocytopenia, hepatic cirrhosis, because that's where the clotting factors are synthesized. So if I have cirrhosis, the clotting factors are not synthesized, so I see bleeding, right? And we're gonna see it with menstruation leash, because that's an active bleeding site monthly. We're gonna see it كمان لو انجرحت. We're gonna see it لو عملت عملية أو واحد من طبيب الأسنان. But still, where we're gonna see it more common? Your menses. Endocrine hypothyroidism also. Uterine, for example, fibroids, adenomyosis, endometrial polyps, gynecological cancers. That's why with women, if you see a difference, if you see a change in her menstruation, she should consult a doctor. مش her neighbor. يعني we hear horror stories really in the hospital of women stage 4 cancer because she went to her neighbor, an elderly woman, وقالت لها أنا حاسة كذا عادي بعد الولادات هيك تصير. And she waited and waited, and then when she waited, it was too late. It was cancer. Okay? So all these actually most probably happen with women who had children, not young women. Now, reminder that we have these important, we have other hormones. Follicular stimulating hormone starts increasing, okay? And it corresponds to the increase in estrogen. Luteinizing hormone is peak, okay? Or we say a surge. Surge of LH happens also immediately after that surge in estrogen. Progesterone increases after, right? In the luteal phase. Of course, we have other hormones, inhibin, etc. I have uploaded, did I upload it? I will check. On to e-learning, the female hormonal control. It's really worth it. I will upload a slide for you. It's a chapter, a book chapter that's very short to read about the relationship between these hormones. إذا حكينا uterus outflow tract, anatomic abnormalities, congenital or acquired. Okay? In the ovaries, in premature ovarian failure, anovulation secondary to thyroid disease, androgen excess, which is PCOS or chronic illness. In the pituitary, endocrinology, iatrogenic, which is unknown, thyroid disease, hypergalactosemia, dopaminergic drug administration, and in the hypothalamus, for example, anorexia nervosa, bulimia, intense exercise, stress also might cause suppression of the hypothalamic hormone. What is the clinical symptom? She's going to notice cessation of menses. Everyone knows a hair cycle. Usually we say, okay, plus minus a week. Okay, but if it goes beyond that, then the woman going to notice that, right? attention, but they will pay attention when she's trying to get pregnant or مش getting pregnant. So infertility is one of these things. Before menopause, she might complain of vaginal dryness, which leads to painful sexual intercourse. So that might lead her to seek help. Also decreased libido, less interest in sexual interactions. All these might be a signs and symptoms that she can feel. Signs, cessation of menses more than 6 months in women who already established menstruation. So if she already menstruating, if it starts for 6 months, definitely amenorrhea and something medical condition that we have to deal with. Again, primary, we define it. 16 with secondary sexual characteristics, 14 without, or 15 either way. Okay, you're gonna see different criteria. Recent significant weight loss or weight gain. Okay, versus acne, hirsutism, hair loss, acanthosis nigraris, which is black or dark colored skin patches. Okay, suggest androgen excess, which is usually characteristics of PCOS. We're going to talk about PCOS more in details because, as I told you, we have noticed it's really high in women in Jordan in general, in particular, but it's around the world, it's at 10%. So واحدة من كل 10. It could be even more these days. We're going to see, she could have none of these, yet she have PCOS. Yeah? We should do, the first test should be done what? Then thyroid, then prolactin. And if we suspect PCOS because there are other symptoms, then we should do androgens. Men age, testosterone, 70 hydroxyprogesterone. We should do fasting glucose and lipid panel. لأنه PCOS is considered a metabolic disorder. زي الديابيتس، زي الهايبرليبيديميا. Okay? في علاقة قوية. Again, tells us how the hormones are really interconnected. Okay? One hormone can affect. بحيث إنه you probably know that some women, or most women, we give them metformin. When it solves the problem of hyperinsulinemia, it also solves the problem of PCOS and infertility. Imagine that. And we can give her oral contraceptives to solve the problem of PCOS and infertility, and then we see that her glucose and her lipid panel is getting better. So two things that can affect each other. We might do a progesterone challenge. What do we mean by that? Because the woman did not have her period, okay? Now we're going to give her medication. We're going to say Khadi on the 5th day. Where's the 5th day? I don't remember the 5th day. So we give her progesterone 1 month, usually, but not to 3 months. And then we stop it. There should be what we call withdrawal bleeding. Not menses, لأنه ما حلينا مشكلة الأوفيوليشن. Remember? احنا حكينا هون احنا scientific. We call it by the scientific name. There is menses and there is withdrawal bleeding. بس عند الناس العامة كله menses. Okay, but it's not. So to reduce withdrawal bleeding, they give her progesterone for 1 to 3 months. Then we stop it suddenly so that she can have withdrawal bleeding, and we consider it menses. And we start on day 5 or on day 1 for the medications. Okay. Sometimes this by itself could solve the problem. This by itself could solve the problem. We're going to see progesterone and estrogen are also interchangeable in causing effects على الhypothalamus, على pituitary, على ovary, etc. We also might do ultrasound to evaluate polycystic ovaries. Even the NOAM suggests إنه لازم يكون في عندي cysts, polycysts. Some women have polycystic ovary syndrome or no cyst on the ovary. Some women, after years, when she gave birth and everything is fine, when we do ultrasound, شو بنلاقي الأوفري تبعها مليان cysts. So we're going to see the criteria. So not necessarily in Shafi'i, but it's one of these tests that can be done. Our goal for treatment is to restore normal menstrual cycle, and the most important goal, especially with the primary amenorrhea in young women, estrogen is not just for fertility and for menstruation and etc. Most important function for estrogen is buildup of bone mass. Women who doesn't menstruate, what is the problem with menopause? What happens at menopause? Two things that are bad for women. Okay? More than two things, but two things that are. Cardiovascular diseases skyrocket. Then you know that women up until menopause are protected against cardiovascular disease. So that men at age 40 and above, they start having jaldat, while women don't. But after the age of menopause 50, it's equivalent. Because their protection came from estrogen. And menopause is lack of estrogen, so she starts having the same, and osteoporosis. These two important adverse effects of menopause. Okay? So young women who never had menses, which means she didn't have estrogen, that means her bone density is not being built. And we build our bone density during that age. Okay? If you didn't build your bone density by the age of 15, 16, you will have weak bones forever. Okay? So we have to take that into consideration to prevent bone loss. So in addition, as we're going to see, in addition to treatment with hormones, etc., we're going to give her calcium and vitamin D. Okay? Now, non-pharmacological might be like stop the severe exercising, eat more fat, okay? Lose weight, gain weight. Sometimes it's gain weight, sometimes it is lose weight. And restoration of ovulation is important, especially if the woman is seeking fertility. Because without it, she's not going to be fertile. She's not going to be able to get pregnant. Now, for hypoestrogenic conditions, when the condition is due to less estrogen, like the primary amenorrhea, okay? Primary amenorrhea, no estrogen. PCOS, instead of estrogen, we have androgen. Androgen. We say it's hyperandrogenic disorder, or we have too much androgen. Then we have to restore it. We don't have estrogen. What do? We give estrogen. We give it in the form of oral contraceptives because oral contraceptives contain estrogen and progesterone, right? Or we can give estrogen lahalo in the form of conjugated equine estrogen. Equine is a fancy word for horse. They take it from pregnant males, okay? Male healing first. The urine of a pregnant man is so rich of estrogen, okay, that they can extract it from, okay? There is also estradiol patch. This will reduce the risk of osteoporosis and, of course, improve quality of life. Now, in the case of hyperprolactinemia, how can we treat it? We want to give dopamine agonist, right? And if she's on a medication that suppresses the dopamine, like antipsychotics, no, we know the new antipsychotics, the atypical, they are more. استناك تخلص تليفونك. ايش يا ابني؟ Can you guys بديش اشوف تليفونات باخذها منكم بعدين. ضبيته؟ إذا we can change the medication to another medication with this effect on the dopamine receptor. Annihilation because PCOS is polycystic ovary, notice, metformin or other insulin sensitizers medication. Progestin to induce, it's not the treatment, but to induce withdrawal bleeding, okay? Then we can start the medications. Example, for example, typical antipsychotics that are really basically dopamine D2 بالذات D2 receptor is the one found in the hypothalamus pituitary connection, okay? And this that inhibits D2, the more that it inhibits D2, the more it's going to cause a prolactinemia, right? Even atypical, some of them like risperidone can cause antidepressants, clomipramine, and monoamine oxidase inhibitors. All these, what they have in common, they inhibit dopamine, okay? So any drug that inhibits dopamine. Okay, now we have to treat the underlying cause, right? But also, as we said, lack of estrogen. During any time of the woman's life, is bad for her bone. So we're going to give calcium and vitamin D. Estrogen replacement via oral contraceptive or implants or bags, as we say. Okay? Now this is the guideline for treatment of amenorrhea. Amenorrhea. What is the first thing to do? I cannot emphasize this more. وانتوا دائما تغلطوا. وتتطلب تفكرين نعيش انا بحط لكم كيس انه highly unlikely انها pregnant. But your answer should be انها could be pregnant. Okay? ما تقول لي بقول كيس شيء صار انها مش pregnant. Still, the first step لازم نعمله شو هو؟ pregnancy. طيب هلا pregnancy طلع نيجاتيف. بتطلع على الاندرلاين كوز. مثلا انوركسيا، excessive exercise، شو نعمل؟ هون عملنا pharmacological treatment. بدنا نزيد الويت، نقلل الاكسرسايز. effective ممتاز، مش effective still we have to give hormone. الهرمون بيكون بشكل oral contraceptive او conjugate equine estrogen او بيتينيل استراديول باش. طيب hyperprolactinemia pharmacological or any agonist of dopamine. PCOS هون بنسأل إذا الwomen usually بيجوا البنات بعد ما يتجوزوا لأنه بيحملوا. فبتجيش تعطيها إذا بتحب إذا it's okay for her تستعمل contraceptives we give her contraceptives مع insulin sensitizer like metformin, okay? وممكن نعمل احنا لازم نعطيها فيها بروجستيرون له انتي اندروجينيك افكت. ريمبر ما بنعطيها بالفيرست جنريشن والسكند جنريشن زي دغري نبلم. هي شو مشكلتها بالبيستيواز؟ زياده اندروجين. اذا البريجنسي اذا جول نعطيها انسولين سنسيتايزر مع كلوميفين اللي هو stimulate the ovary. Other unknown نعطي بروجستين حتى نعمل withdrawal bleeding. بعدين نعطي الاستروجين البروجستين ثيرابي. Yes. أعطي لها حتى إنه حتى تتحسن. إذا كنت تغير العلاج طبعا. شو الاند ريزلت؟ كيف بعرف انه البيسيوس انحل؟ ما في she's back having her menses regularly وبقيس التستوستيرون والاذر اندروجينز في البلد بلاقيهم نزلوا او حملت. That is the ultimate, right? طيب شو بدي الاوتكم؟ لازم ترجع بعد شهر ونشوف انه المنسس رجع عادة 1 to 2 months بس هذا على فكرة البوش دائما بتكون فيها الافكار النموذجية. ممكن ياخذها 6 اشهر وسنة ما تتوقعوا انه مضبوط 1 to 2 months بس احنا we should check we should follow up مع الست بعد 1 to 2 months. إذا كانت الأميلوريا long standing وهي عندها hypoandrogenic condition لازم نقيس البور mineral density نعمل بوست بيس لاين ونقيس بعد سنة لسنتين لازم نتأكد إنه البور density عندها عم تتحسن. أوكي؟ إذا سكتنا إلى بولاكتين نقيس عندها بولاكتين. أوكي؟ after 6 to 12 months ومش أول ما يوجع بوقفه. I need to continue until it is well established إني أنا عملت inhibition للبولاكتين 6 to 10 to 12 months. اللي عندهم برايمري امينوريا ويانج هذول اللي لسه ما بلغوا مثلا زي ما حكينا 14 and not even secondary. بدي اشوف السكندري sexual characteristics انها بينت عندها. اوكي؟ لازم مش بس انه تجيها الدوره، كمان بريست etc. لازم يبين عندها هاي الاشياء. هلا الهيفي menstrual bleeding او المينوريجيا another disorder of menstruation وبرضه بتصيب الستات كثير، بس غالبا بيكون عند الستات اللي تكررت عندهم الاحمال. غالبا مش معناته بتصيبش عند اليانج، بس يوريلي طبعا واول البلوغ يعني the first year after menarche 1 year she's not ovulating and she will have heavy menses and that leads to the thing انه عندها البويضات قويه ولا شيء. actually they're not mature yet. okay لازم نتذكر الاوفري could be functioning different than the uterus. الهرمونز اللي حاطه لكم اياها رح تشوفوا estrogen and progesterone at different times during the period could be inhibitory or could be excitatory على FSH والLH. تخيلوا it depends on the time of the cycle. إذا menorrhagia أو بنسميها heavy menstrual bleeding now أو anovulatory bleeding when she loses more than 80 ml. How she knows? She knows it from the number of pads she uses. Every woman knows how much she loses blood, okay? And other signs مثلا عندها anemia, fever, توجع دائما. Well, that's a sign of losing too much blood. Then it could be systemic disorder حكينا زي blood disorder. ايش المشكلة بالcoagulatory components like von Willebrand disease اللي هو 7 I think the coagulatory factor number 7. Hypothyroidism will lead to heavy menstrual bleeding without ovulation. Hypothyroidism بيعمل inhibition على الأكسس على HBO axis. فبيعمل bleeding without ovulation again. في could be uterine causes. هاي أكثر عند زي ما حكينا الستات women who gave birth. بصير عندهم polyps، بصير عندهم fibroids، بصير عندهم adenomas and even cancers. We said the first complaint is that she have very heavy menstruation. Also signs of fatigue, تعبانة دائما, pale, وجهها أصفر. She cannot stand, okay? She faints sometimes. إيش مشهورين؟ ما يشوفونيش كأني اختفيت عن الوجود، أنا ما اختفيتش، بعدني هون. بعدني هون طيب شو اللابوراتوري تيست اللي لازم نعمله بهاي الحالة؟ كأنها أنيميا، هيموغلوبين، سي بالضبط، بلاد كاونت، فيريتين ليفل، of genetic disorder بدنا نشوف الكواجولاتوري components right نقدر نفحص هاي الفاكتورز كلها برضه if it's a pelvic is we think it is in the uterus then we can نعمل uterine ultrasound magnetic resonance pap smear endometrial biopsy hysteroscopy and sonohysterogram هذا بيعرف ليش we refer to the uterus things by hystero من وين اجت hysterectomy اللي هي ازاله شو دخل hystero باليوتيرس Thank you. Yes, I learned it والله this year only بالuniversal and speeding cafe and inclusion cafe workshop I attended and Dr. Tarifi and inclusion of females in research. لأنه including myself لما بدي أعمل research بجيب male rats. بدي أعمل شيء بعمل male ليه طيب؟ فهلا في ال NIH they support grants the research if you include females. Okay? مش دائما في اختلاف بس لازم ندرسهم at the same time. ف there was a very nice workshop with scientists بيحكوا عن الموضوع. She told us إنه سموه hysteroscopy لأنه كانوا يعتقدوا إنه women are hysteric مجنونات بسبب اليوتيرس لأنه شو مختلف إنها يوتيرس فسموها زي refer everything hysteroscopy لازم نطالب بتغييره. لاحظوا by the way I was يعني during the workshop I was talking مع الدكتور الطريفي my colleague and I said إحنا العرب هلا we discriminate against women أكثر من غيرنا but our history is not like that لأنه our language is not like that وبتعرف the language man woman رجل امرأة رجال نساء صح؟ ما في عندنا مش males females أنثى ذكر وما في عندنا هاي التسميات اوكي؟ وبالتالي we really accordingly we are more advanced except طبعا هون لا
دكتورة خلصت المحاضرة
خلصت المحاضرة طيب يلا see you next time تكوني وين